Tyson versus Paul script was fully leaked all the way down to the bow Jake did in round 8. This profile on X posted it anonymously one day before the fight, explaining everything before deleting it today.
Rumors of a leaked script have raised questions about the fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, suggesting it was staged to make Paul shine while showing Tyson's age. The alleged script seemed designed to balance Tyson's legendary status with Paul's rising image, giving each fighter their moments, but clearly favoring Paul in the end.
A fake script has been going around that said Mike Tyson will get KO'd in round 5, but that one was clearly not real or an older script. This will give you goosebumps.
In the first round, Tyson was said to start strong, showing off his classic aggressive style with some powerful jabs. Meanwhile, Paul avoided danger, using his speed to stay out of reach and land quick counterpunches. This made him look like the smarter, faster fighter. The actual fight felt similar, with Tyson landing a few good punches but unable to corner Paul, who moved well and stayed calm.
Round 1, opening bell rings and Tyson is showing flashes of his old form but slower than his prime.
The second round reportedly gave Tyson a moment to shine with a hard left hook to Paul's body that got the crowd excited, but Paul quickly regained control, keeping Tyson at a distance with his reach. This part of the script seemed to highlight Tyson's power while still making Paul look composed and strategic. In reality, Tyson did land some solid shots, but Paul's footwork kept him safe and he avoided any real trouble.
Round 2, Tyson comes alive but his breathing grows heavier.
In the third round, the script focused on Paul's growing confidence. It described him landing a clean right hand that stunned Tyson, showing Paul as the faster, sharper fighter. While Paul did land a few good punches in the actual fight, Tyson wasn't visibly hurt and kept moving forward. The script appeared to exaggerate Paul's success, making Tyson look less threatening than he really was.
Round 3, Paul gains confidence and lands a sharp right that stuns Tyson. That's exactly what happened.
By the fourth round, the script supposedly showed Tyson tiring, with Paul taking control through precise punches. A dramatic moment involved Tyson getting cut above his eye, making it seem like his body was breaking down. Tyson still looked tough and kept pressing forward, even as Paul used his jabs and movement to stay ahead.
Then round 4 and 5, the fatigue sets in strong for Tyson and Jake is landing a bunch of hits.
The script's big finish came in the 5th round, with Paul landing a series of punches that backed Tyson into the ropes before delivering a knockout blow. This dramatic ending was designed to make Paul look unstoppable. However, in the actual fight, the knockout never happened. Paul controlled the fight, but Tyson stayed strong enough to take his punches and finish the bout.
Round 6, Jake showboats, which is the tongue thing he did here. Then on round 7, Jake plays it safe to not KO Mike. And round 8 wins by decision and bows at the end. This is crazy.
The leaked script, if real, seems to have been written to boost Paul's image as a dominant fighter while downplaying Tyson's abilities. Tyson was shown as powerful but slowed by age, while Paul appeared as a skilled and strategic boxer. Moreover, Mike Tyson says his defeat by Jake Paul felt like a victory because he almost died earlier this year.
Mike Tyson said via X the following: "This is one of the situations when you lost but still won. I'm grateful for last night. No regrets to get in the ring one last time."
The 58-year-old boxing legend lost to the YouTuber turned boxer by a unanimous points decision in the heavily criticized fight on Friday.
Can we give it up one time for Jake Paul?
Let's go. Hey, thank you. I'm sorry I didn't knock him out though, guys. I'm really sorry. He didn't land anything clean, so I honestly didn't feel Mike Tyson's full power, but that's good. I sprained my ankle, tore the ligament, bruised everything, tore the other side of it. People will never be satisfied with my career until I get flatline.
The fight, initially scheduled for July, was postponed in May on medical advice after Tyson suffered from a stomach ulcer flare-up, which he has now revealed was more serious than it first appeared. After the fight, Tyson took to X and posted, "This is one of those situations when you lost but still won. I'm grateful for last night. No regrets to get in ring one last time. I almost died in June, had 8 blood transfusions, lost half my blood and 25 pounds in hospital and had to fight to get healthy to fight, so I won." Tyson had good words to say about Jake Paul and was grateful for the experience. "To have my children see me stand toe-to-toe and finish 8 rounds with a talented fighter half my age in front of a packed Dallas Cowboy Stadium is an experience that no man has the right to ask for. Thank you."
He looked bad. He looked like somebody that was in a hospital months earlier. He looked like somebody that, as he described, who lost a lot of blood, lost a lot of weight, etc.
The controversial fight was not a good watch for many. As the fight progressed, Tyson showed increasing fatigue, with his punch output diminishing. Despite the heavy blows he absorbed, Tyson never went down and kept fighting until the final bell, a testament to his resilience.
In pain game, because that was a painful watch, mate. Mike Tyson at 58 years old loses to Jake Paul. It's just so wrong, isn't it? It would have been wrong a decade ago, but it was bloody really wrong. It was sad. It was sad seeing a man who used to fly around that ring, brutalizing anyone who would stand in his way. In there with a kid who, yeah, I've been a supporter of Jake's boxing career up till now, but this is something I just can't fuck with, as you know.
I think Jake, to a degree, was in a lose-lose situation. He knocks him out in the first. Everyone says, this is murder, this is awful, this is disgusting. He knocks him out in the middle, same thing. He even knocks him out in the end, they'll say that. He goes the distance, they'll say, oh, he sucks, or oh, he carried him, and more on that in a moment. The only result that I think people truly would have been happy with is a Mike Tyson knockout of Jake Paul. I think Jake carried him. I think Jake didn't want to knock him out. I'm not sure if he could have, but he definitely took his foot off the gas last couple rounds, for sure.
After the fight, the two shared an embrace, putting aside their months of rivalry and animosity and acknowledging the significance of the event, despite Netflix's technical glitches during the broadcast. However, the goodwill didn't last long. During the in-ring interview with MMA journalist Ariel Helwani, Tyson was asked about the possibility of retirement, to which he told that he would like to fight his brother Logan. His comment left Jake and others around the ring visibly shocked, as most fighters typically call for a rematch after a loss. Tyson, on the other hand, seemed to set his sights on Logan, indicating that he might look to face the older Paul sibling instead. Tyson remained upbeat about the future, expressing his willingness to return to the ring. He said at the post-fight interview, I don't know, maybe his brother. Looking stunned, Logan responded in the best way he deemed fit. Motherfucker, I'd kill you, Mike. But when asked specifically about facing the boxing legend, Logan wasn't very sure of the fight.
Logan, what do you make of Jake's performance tonight?
Absolutely stupendous.
What did you think of Mike Tyson?
I love Uncle Mike. He's just such a, I mean, like, that was impressive, no? For a 58-year-old. Hi, how are you? That was, yeah, he's like tough, proud of him, weathered the storm with a young brute named Jake Paul. I think Jake let him live. I do.
He wants to fight you, bro.
Yeah, he wants to fight you next. What about that?
I think he wants money. I don't think he wants to fight me.
Would you take the fight?
No.
Why? Gotta say.
Coming back to the fight, Dave Coldwell described the fight as a tough night for Mike Tyson. He noted that after an energetic start in the first 30 seconds, Tyson quickly lost his spark. His movement slowed down, and by the second round, his stamina began to fade. Tyson was largely stationary in the middle of the ring, struggling to get his rhythm back.
Then, it was always going to be a very, very difficult night for Mike Tyson, and after the first 30 seconds, minute, you saw that it just got gradually, well, not gradually, rapidly. After the second round, you can see that the little bright sparks had completely diminished, and it just looked like it was hard work for him for the course of the fight.
Coldwell pointed out that Jake Paul fought smart, taking fewer risks and controlling the pace of the fight. Tyson's lack of movement made it easier for Paul to dictate what happened in the ring. Coldwell found it all sad to witness, as it highlighted the clear decline in Tyson's performance.
And Jake Paul did what he had to do. He was smart. He was not taking too many chances, and it just looked like, for the majority of the fight, from my point of view and from what I've seen, is that Tyson was just stood center of the ring and really couldn't move. It was sad. It was so sad to see.
Spencer Farron suggested that Jake Paul might have held back during his fight with Mike Tyson, believing that if Jake had been more aggressive, the outcome could have been different. He pointed to Tyson's decline, mentioning the knee brace he wore and his struggles in training, which showed he wasn't the same fighter he was 4 years ago when he faced Roy Jones Jr.
Jake Paul carried Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? Because I think, like, if he'd have stuck it on him, which he could have done, then it would have been totally different. And, like, what was it? 4 years ago that him and Roy Jones, right? Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. 4 years ago. That Tyson was a lot more sharper, a lot more tenacious. right? You know what I mean? When I see you walking out, you got a knee brace on. And there was times where I was seeing Mike Tyson, even in the workouts and all the rest of what he was doing, and I could see that he was old.
While Fearon didn't think the fight was scripted in terms of moves, he felt that Jake might have purposely toned down his approach, possibly out of respect for Tyson, to avoid knocking out a boxing legend.
He was old, you know what I mean? So I don't think it was scripted to the fact of like, they went through the fight, you're gonna throw this right hand and then. No, I think it was scripted to the fact of like, you know what? I'm not going to knock out a legend, right? Yeah. And like, so people really think that I'm a piss taker because there's times to me that Jake Paul carried him, right? That's what it looked like to me, right?
Jake Paul himself admitted that he had to carry Mike Tyson to put on a show for the fan and didn't want to hurt him.
Around round 3, Mike seemed to be running out of gas a little bit. You were working the jab really well. At any point, did you start to take your foot off the gas just a little bit because you noticed he was tiring out?
Yeah, definitely.
Claressa Shields was among those who took a more sympathetic view of the 58-year-old icon. Shields made it clear that Tyson could do no wrong in her eyes, describing the experience of seeing him back in the ring as one she thoroughly enjoyed. She acknowledged Tyson's age and physical limitations, stating that although fans would have loved to see him score a knockout, simply witnessing Tyson compete was a joy in itself. For Shields, Tyson remains the baddest man on the planet, despite the obvious signs of decline. Regarding Jake Paul, she didn't believe that Paul was intentionally holding back, but rather that he was trying to set Tyson up for a specific move, implying a more strategic approach rather than a merciful one.
What did you think about it? Were you happy with Mike's performance?
Listen, I love Mike Tyson. He can do no wrong in my eyes. Him getting inside the ring and everything just brought me so much joy to be able to see with my own eyes. I mean, yeah, of course you want to see Mike Tyson knock somebody out, but he's 58, man, and I'm just happy I got to witness it tonight, and he's the baddest man on the planet to me, still. Okay. Still, baddest man on the planet.
Do you think Jake took it a little easy on him?
Nah, I think Jake was trying to set him up for the okie doke. He was trying to play.
On the other hand, UFC fighter Colby Covington offered a more grounded evaluation of the fight. He acknowledged the safe conclusion of the bout, but emphasized that it was clear Tyson was well past his prime. Covington expressed relief that Tyson didn't suffer any significant harm during the fight, underlining the concern that Tyson at his age might have been vulnerable to injury or worse.
Yo, Colby, what'd you think, man? What did I think? Yeah. You know, I love seeing Mike out there doing what he loves to do. It's his passion. But I don't know. I think Jake looked a little soft tonight. He don't look like a real boxer, a pro boxer that's been training the last 10 years. So, you know, he needs to come see me one day. A guy that's in his prime that's going to walk him down and have that cardio. So.
Steven Espinoza, a key figure in boxing promotions, was blunt in his assessment of the event, calling it rough to watch. His disappointment wasn't just about the fight itself, but about the broader circumstances surrounding it. Espinoza, like many others, expressed concern that business interests were prioritized over the integrity of the sport. The fight seemed to many like a spectacle more than a legitimate contest, an event designed more for entertainment and financial gain than for a meaningful display of boxing skill.
I think we're all hoping to see a little flash of the old Mike, and we saw like someone who, you know, I wish I'd seen the old Mike. You know, not to take anything from Jake, but you know, Mike looks his age, and you know he should. Look, I take that back. He did a lot better than a lot of 58-year-olds would have done. But you know, you know, there was
for the sport?
I think it is. About 70,000 people out. Me and Mike. So, like, I think it certainly brought people out.
Adding to the chorus of concerns, Evander Holyfield, another boxing legend, suggested that something about Tyson's performance felt off. Holyfield's remarks hinted at the possibility that Tyson's age and health issues were impacting his ability to perform at his usual level. His comments fueled speculation that external factors, perhaps personal or physical limitations, could have influenced the outcome of the fight, casting doubt on the authenticity of the spectacle.
What did you think of the fight?
It wasn't a good one.
It wasn't a good one. No. Yeah. Overall, how'd you just see how Jake fought, how Mike fought?
Well, you know, you can tell something was wrong with the Tyson leg.
Yeah, the knee.
So he couldn't. His balance was off.
Oh, that's crazy. You noticed that. I just talked to his trainer and he told me that exact thing.
Yeah.
His balance was off.
His balance was off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. You know, overall, like, how do you see Jake growing from this, and who do you want to see him fight against now?
Well, you know, I'm like, he's a pretty good fighter.
The sentiment of dissatisfaction was shared by several other prominent figures, including Eddie Hearn, who admitted he could barely stomach watching the first round. Hearn's discomfort reflected the widespread feeling that the fight was far from the high standard that many had hoped for, further reinforcing the idea that Tyson's best days were behind him.
Eddie, what did you make?
I didn't really watch it. I was in Katie's change room, she was getting stitched up. I watched the first 30 seconds, which were quite entertaining, and then after it was just horrible to watch. And that's, I just, like, did you enjoy watching most of that fight? It was hard to watch, but it was always going to be like that. But it doesn't have to be, they're not making this for me. Look how many people turned up, look how many people tuned in, so I can't knock it.
One of the most vocal critics of the event was Carl Froch, a former world champion who didn't mince words when discussing the fight. Froch called it a massive anticlimax, referring to the entire spectacle as crap. Speaking candidly on his YouTube channel, Froch expressed his disillusionment with the quality of the fight, suggesting that Tyson at 58 years old seemed to be more of a participant in a circus act than a legitimate contender. For Froch, the event was more about spectacle than sport, a show that failed to deliver the excitement fans expected.
Listen, it was an anticlimax. It didn't live up to the expectations of what it was built up to be. I mean, it was crap on it, let's be honest. The fight itself was awful.
Froch was particularly critical of Jake Paul's performance, speculating that Paul, perhaps out of respect for Tyson or out of fear of injuring him, failed to engage properly in the fight. Froch doubted Paul's ability to knock out Tyson, suggesting that the social media star simply wasn't skilled enough. He pointed out that Paul had only a limited amount of professional boxing experience, with his most notable fight being a loss to Tommy Fury, a fighter he dismissed as only British level. For Froch, this further tarnished the credibility of Paul's victory and raised questions about the legitimacy of his rise in the boxing world.
What happened? What happened in the fight? What happened in the ring? There was no substance. It's like when you're cooking a meal all day. You cook up a nice broth. You put your organic steak mince in. You put your potatoes in, your sweet potatoes are a bit better for you. Bit of vegetables, all your stock, and you're slow cooking it all day. And then at the end of the day, when you dip the spoon in and you have a little sample and it tastes like absolute shit, you think to yourself, what a waste of time that was. And that's what this fight was. Jake Paul didn't really get anything going. He was almost fighting scared. He came into the ring walk, into that big stadium, and what was it, a Chevrolet or a Cadillac? It was a big gas-guzzling American car. It looked good. He looked cool, he looked a bit nervous, but he looked cool in his car. His brother was there, Logan Paul, all the glitz and glam, the music, the pyrotechnics, the whole build-up to this show was fantastic. It was enjoyable. But unfortunately, when both guys, the reason I'm not talking about the fight, because there's nothing to really talk about. The fight was absolutely hopeless. It was terrible.
Despite acknowledging Tyson's age and physical struggles, Froch did not hesitate to criticize Paul's performance, calling it lackluster and suggesting that Paul was unwilling to truly challenge Tyson. Froch also questioned Paul's narrative that he was avoiding a knockout out of respect, implying that Paul simply didn't have the heart or courage to finish the fight when he had the chance.
But every time he did try and close the gap, Jake Paul backed off, got behind his jab. He threw a couple of shots in there. He did throw a couple of big swings as well at one point. So that's why I have to question. When he said he took his time on Mike Tyson, didn't want to hurt him, didn't want to knock him out, I'm not so sure about that, because he was swinging away at points in that ring. And if some of them shots would have landed, they would have probably hurt Mike Tyson because he's 58 years old. But anyway, nothing really happened. Tyson came out round 1-2. The fight itself was a massive anticlimax. It was crap. It was a waste of time. I'm glad I didn't stay up late to watch it. All the people that pay good money to be there and watch it, they must be disappointed with that performance. And I'm not taking anything away from Mike Tyson. He's 58 years old. He can only do what he can do. He's got an old body. But Jake Paul put in a performance as well. Didn't really try and do much, but it was nice that at the end he paid respect to Mike Tyson.
In a more sarcastic tone, Froch joked that he would have no problem defeating Jake Paul himself, dismissing Paul's boxing abilities as practically non-existent. He humorously claimed that he could end Jake Paul with one punch, and even offered to fight him with one arm tied behind his back, highlighting just how little he thought of Paul's skill set. Froch also made it clear that his comments were not driven by a desire for financial gain, stating that while he would happily accept a fight with Paul for the right payday, his finances were in good shape regardless.
All you've got left is somebody like me. He'd mentioned me before, and there'll be people out there saying, oh, Carl Froch talking about himself, he's after a payday. Listen, I'm not after a payday. I'm doing all right. There's no problems with my finances, but I'll take the payday, of course I will. And I'll end Jake Paul with one punch. I'd go in there one-armed and beat this guy. He can't box. He's absolutely useless.
He also refuted any suggestion that his comments were motivated by a desire for financial gain. Although Froch joked about taking a payday, he assured that his finances were in good shape, but if the opportunity arose, he'd gladly take the fight.
He's talking about Canelo Alvarez. I've not mentioned Canelo Alvarez because it's just laughable. Jake Paul, Canelo Alvarez, can you imagine? I mean, if Jake Paul fancies that and he jumps in the ring with him, I will pay homage to him because fair play, if he jumps in there with Canelo Alvarez, he'll get absolutely destroyed, and it will be fast and it will be messy, and it will be bad for his health as well, potentially.
John Jones was in UFC action for the first time since March 2023, knocking out Stipe Miocic with a thunderous spinning kick KO to defend his heavyweight strap. Despite the proximity of the two mega bouts, Bones still got the chance to take in Tyson and Paul's Netflix extravaganza.
I did catch the fight. It was hard to see him so old. You know, Roy Jones Jr. kept saying it, man, those legs aren't working. It was really hard to see. He really sold it, you know, with the highlight videos of him training and his physique. I wish he went and showed us his ass. That was a little wild. I'm like, Mike, you didn't have to do that. Mike's a freak, I bet, dude. I'm like, Mike, you old nasty old man. You old dirty bastard, you. It was hard to watch, but I respect him so much for getting in there. You know, that was the cool part. You know, it's just, I'm sure, you know, they compensated him very well. He got to give a bunch of fans what they wanted, which is just to be alive to see him compete. And for that part alone, I thank him.
Roy Jones Jr. shared his thoughts on the fight, highlighting that seeing Mike Tyson's focused energy gave him confidence that the bout was legitimate. He noted that the 2-minute rounds were beneficial for Tyson, allowing him to conserve energy. However, Jones also pointed out that Jake Paul, being younger, would likely get stronger as the fight went on. He advised Paul to box intelligently, maintain his distance, and try to tire Tyson out by making him move more. Jones suggested that as the fight progressed, Tyson's fatigue could become a key factor, and Paul could potentially exploit that weakness.
What up, y'all? Hey, we saw what happened tonight. Mike came out, gave it all he had. His legs, you could tell, weren't really with him tonight, so it was a little bit difficult. But thank God Jake didn't knock him out, because I would have felt bad for Jake, because Andre Ward was definitely going to go after Jake if he did knock Tyson out. So thank God he didn't. Thank God everybody ended up healthy, happy. Now I ain't got to worry about Andre coming out of retirement no time soon, so we all good. I mean, that's Mike. That's vintage Mike. I was glad to see it, actually, because it means that Mike ain't out here just going through the motion. He's serious about it, you know, so I liked it.
Yeah, like his energy was like very calming throughout the week.
Yes, it was until now. And the fact that it came out now, I'm glad to see that, because if I hadn't saw that, I would be worried that this fight may not even be for real.
How do you see the fight, given how Mike and you guys fought a few years back?
2-minute rounds are good for Mike, but Jake gonna get stronger as the fight goes, because Jake's a younger guy. So I think Jake is smart to go out and probably try to box Mike early, but keep his distance. And if he can get Mike a little fatigued, make like Mike use his legs a little bit, try to get him, you know?
Andre Ward, meanwhile, spoke about Tyson's enduring presence, saying that Mike Tyson is always Mike Tyson, with a charisma and intensity that commands respect. Ward emphasized Tyson's ability to talk the talk and project such power that opponents can feel it. He encouraged fans to appreciate the fight for what it was, urging them not to overanalyze or expect too much, but rather to enjoy the moment and recognize Tyson's iconic status in the sport.
Y'all don't be disappointed, man. Mike got in tip-top shape. Best shape he could get into for a 58-year-old man, and he went in there and rumbled with a 27-year-old man. What do you want? You know, the legs wasn't. Excuse the language, y'all. The language wasn't. I mean, not the language, but the legs wasn't. You know, all the way there. The legs wasn't all the way there. Reflexes ain't all the way there. But that's to be expected, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, man, respect Mike for getting in tip-top shape. You know. Respect both of them for putting on this kind of event, man, because the event was live, bro. I didn't think they was gonna fill it up. They filled it up. It was probably maybe a few little seats at the top and the nosebleeds that wasn't full, but man, they did that. They did that. You gotta respect that, man. Y'all have a good night. I gotta say my name.
Ultimately, the fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson served as a focal point for criticism from across the boxing world. While some praised Tyson's enduring legacy and the thrill of seeing him in the ring, the fight itself left many with a sense of disappointment, questioning both the nature of the spectacle and the performance of the fighters involved. The consensus among critics was clear. This wasn't a fight for the ages, but rather a spectacle that exposed the vulnerabilities of a once great champion and the limitations of a self-made challenger. So what is your opinion about this fight? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and check out our other videos for more insights and analysis on the world of boxing.